Hello, my juicy co-creators. Lilou here in Texas, in Houston, Texas, with Jennifer. How are you?
Good. Thank you very much, Leela.
This is exciting to spend this moment with you because synchronicities again has happened, and I'm here at the Green Life Expo, the Soul Explosion. And when you're one of the featured speakers, and you wrote two books that I have here, Ascending into Miracles, The Path of Spiritual Mastery. Really exciting. This is going to be juicy. And then 30 Days to Everyday Miracle. So we're going to go into the universal laws. I know you speak a lot about universal laws, the 12 universal laws, and how to put them in practice in our life. I want to speak with you. What is a miracle? How do you define miracle? How can we transform our life? How can we live this juicy life? Oh my goodness. Let's bring it on. So what is a miracle for you? What is the definition of a miracle?
A miracle is the movement of energy from one place to another. So from a place of where it currently is, maybe where you don't want it, to a place where you do want it. And that's all a miracle is. You set your intention and you just move energy.
So how do we do that now?
Well, we're talking about universal laws, so let's look at the universal laws with respect to miracles. One is the law of abundance. There's abundance in all things. So we think if we have the things that we don't like, then we have no abundance. But we actually do. We just have an abundance of things that we don't particularly care for. Mm-hmm. So instead of focusing on, oh, I hate this, I don't like this is really terrible, you just focus your intention on what you want to create instead. Mm-hmm. And that moves the energy and allows the miracle to happen.
Mm-hmm. So it's constantly about shifting that thought to a place of greatness and juiciness.
Exactly. Right. Because what you focus on is what you create. Mm-hmm. So if you're focused on all the things you don't like or all the things you don't want, then that's what you're creating. The universe doesn't judge. It doesn't make up our mind for us or make anything different.
What are some of the other universal laws that you think we should know of? Because we hear a lot about the law of attraction. Mm-hmm. There's some other laws that are really important.
There's, for example, there's the first law, which is the law of divine oneness. It says we're all one. And we are the human family. We are part of our Earth. We're part of the universe, the galaxy, the solar system, but we're all one. So I am me having my individual life, and you are too, but we are from the same source. Mm-hmm. And everyone on the planet is like that. So imagine if we all understood that law and we lived that law, then we wouldn't feel like people are different, because we would see that no matter how different we look, at the center of our divine core, we're actually all the same. We're all one. Mm-hmm. The other one of my favorites, is the law of cause and effect. Mm-hmm. So in your reality, you're the cause, and everything is an effect. And if you want to change anything in your reality, you have to go back to the cause, which is you, and make the changes there. Mm-hmm. Another one is the law of polarity. There are two energies in the universe. There's love and there's fear. And you're in one or the other. You can't be in both. And if you're in one, you can always change it. But it's either one or the other.
Would you say that there is always that energy, that loving energy, those miracles that are happening, this greatness and juiciness is just, we're the one that are separating ourselves from it, because it is happening at all times.
Exactly. I was talking in one of my classes today, and I said, imagine if the universe is like the air that we breathe. There's an abundance. It's like we don't get like 2 liters of air, and then if we breathe too much or we breathe too hard, we don't have any more. It's like we never think about the one thing that we really need to live is air, and it's just freely abundant for mm-hmm. us. And the universe is the same way. The energy is just there. It's flowing. If I stop breathing, it doesn't mean there's no air. It means I decided to hold my breath. Mm-hmm. So it's exactly the same thing with the energy. We disconnect ourselves from the energy. Mm-hmm. It's there. We just need to reconnect to it.
Is there some techniques or some things that you teach to reconnect pretty quickly and shift that?
One of the best techniques that I teach, well, there's two. One of them is breathing, because where's the present moment? Mm-hmm. It's the moment you're breathing in. Why? Exactly, because what's the one thing you can't live without? Breathing. Breathing is the first thing you do the day you're born, and it's the last thing you do on the day you die. And all in between there, no matter what else is going on in your life, you're breathing. Mm-hmm. So at any point when things get too much, when your life is too much, when you get scared or whatever, if you stop and you just breathe, just like you did, that breath, it brings you back to the present moment, because that's where you're breathing. Mm-hmm. And this other is this great grounding exercise that I share with my radio listeners and everyone, and it's where you pull energy up from the earth through your feet, and then you pull energy down from the crystalline matrix above you through your head, and you bring them to your crown chakra, and then you push them out to about like a big donut, like arm's length around you. And it's a great grounding exercise. It's a great centering exercise, but it also reminds you that, we need to be grounded above and below.
Mm-hmm. What about that crystal matrix that you just said? Could you expand on that a little bit? I never heard it in those terms, so just bring it on.
The crystalline matrix is the light vortex that's above it. You can call it a web, but it's the light vortex that's above us. And it is a light vortex. If you can see it, it looks like a web of light, and it contains a lot of energy. It also contains all of the new energies that are coming into the planet. They come through this crystalline vortex. So when you and you have to consciously connect to it. So when you consciously connect to it, you allow that light then to kind of come in through your crown chakra. But it has to be a conscious connection, because in order to connect to it, you have to kind of open your awareness to it, and then that just brings you up to the level of connect. And you can actually feel it when you do it. You can feel it coming through the top of your head and then going down into your heart.
What is your relationship to the non-physical, to the unseen world?
Well, I kind of walk between the two. I'm one of those teachers. My guides described me as a bridge teacher. Mm-hmm. So I'm as comfortable like in the business and in the material world as I am in the world of spirit. And I kind of walk between the two. But I have always been very intuitive. So I've always had that connection to the unseen, or connection to spirit, or to being psychic or clairvoyant. The first experience I had when I was little, I was not quite 3 years old, that I remember. So my connection has always been there. I don't know what it is to not be connected, because I don't ever remember a time when I wasn't, in that space between these two worlds.
So how does it feel for you to be connected to that world? How can we feel it more? How can we feel and know the importance of it, especially these days?
Well, the first is to know that it's there. It doesn't matter if we acknowledge it or not. It's present. It's there. It's kind of like your mother watching over you, even though, when you cross the street, even though you think she's not paying attention. She just sees you out of the corner of her eye. It's like the air we breathe. It's this constant presence. It's, as you said earlier, we're the ones who disconnect. So if we are not connected to it, we aren't connected to it consciously. But on an unconscious level, we're still connected. And the way we strengthen that connection is just to become aware of it, is to ask our inner guidance, is this the best step for me? Is this the right thing for me? What else is for me? Because we don't spend time, asking that question. We are more afraid that it won't be there than we are that it just is there. And it's trust and faith. It's just knowing that it's there.
You, part of what you're teaching this weekend, and you have some seminars or your workshops, is karma, relationship, energy blockage, or energy healing, or energy releasing. Mm-hmm. Tell us about karma, and what is your view of karma, and how connected are we to it, and how much of it can we release?
Those are really good questions, because that's something, and actually I'm teaching a class today, and I'm doing a workshop next weekend in Houston about that. We're going to talk about karma and releasing and doing a lot of energy work. Karma is the energetic imprint that we have left behind in a prior lifetime. So whenever we are out of the energy of unconditional love and we have some kind of trauma or some kind of fear, we literally leave a mark, an imprint in the Earth's energy field that has our name on it. Mm-hmm. And that's ours. And it's ours to fix because we created it. Mm-hmm. So nobody else can heal our karma. We have to do it ourselves. So we come back in another lifetime and we go back to that imprint, we pull that energy and say, okay, this is where I'm starting, and in this lifetime I'm going to try and fix this. So that's karma, and it's us, the energy, plus the other person who was involved in the energy if there's somebody else. And the key to releasing karma is forgiveness, which doesn't mean going up to the person and saying, everything you did was okay. What it means is that we go to ourselves and look at all the emotional energy we're carrying, and we say, I don't want this anymore. Mm-hmm. And we cut that connection. We release it. So forgiveness is really something we do for us. Mm-hmm. It's not about the other person because we engaged with them. We don't realize with karma that we did something to that person too. We're not innocent. I talk about in my book, we're both the aggressor and the victim in different lifetimes. We're the abuser, but we're also the abused. Mm-hmm. We just shift roles in lifetimes. Mm-hmm. So whatever that person did to us, we also did to them, mm-hmm. and probably worse.
Yes.
We don't remember that part. We just see what they're doing to us and we go, oh, you terrible person. But we don't know the other side of that story. The reason it's very important for us to release karma now is because we have an opportunity to live in other dimensions of being. Mm-hmm. But karma doesn't have a place in those dimensions. Mm-hmm. So if we want to make that transition, we have to release our karma. Because if we don't release it, then we're pretty much stuck here.
Mm-hmm. The time is now.
It is the time.
Forgiving, compassion.
That's right.
All of that.
Acceptance is our biggest lesson. I write a lot about acceptance in my new book, Ascending into Miracles. Acceptance is our most challenging lesson because acceptance means acknowledging what is and stopping right there. Mm-hmm. This person isn't nice to me. I don't like this, whatever. And accepting it as it is. And then the next step is, what do you want that's different? And then you work on creating that. You don't try and change people. You don't try and make them wrong. You don't judge them. You don't judge yourself. You just look at it and say, okay, I'm the cause. This is the effect. I don't like the effect, so I'm changing the cause. And you start from you. Imagine what the world would be like. Everyone would live this juicy life if everyone was focused on what's the best, juiciest life I can live. Mm-hmm. And they would do that. Mm-hmm. And then the people whose juicy lives matched yours, you would be connected with. The people whose lives didn't match yours, you wouldn't be connected with. Mm-hmm. And nobody would worry about it. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't try and get someone who doesn't love you to love you. You wouldn't try and get someone who doesn't want to be nice to you to be nice to you. You'd be too busy having a good time to worry about it.
How do you deal with challenges or things that are confronting in society or governments or on the planet that is happening that could be disturbing? How do you stay focused, or how do you stay in this juicy place?
Well, I'm human. I'm not always in a juicy place, and things do get to me sometimes. But I also know that in the end, the light always wins. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter what things look like now. In the end, the light always wins. And if you look at things that are happening, for a long time, we were, asleep, and now we're waking up. Well, we let things ravel and get all wound up in a certain way, and now they're unwinding. And that process of unwinding takes a little bit of time, but what also happens is the more it starts to unwind, the faster it goes. So and there are things that have to be brought to light, but they can't be brought to light all at once. We'd all go nuts. It would blow our minds. Mm-hmm. So we learn the truth in little bits and pieces, kind of as we can. And do I think the world's going to get blown up? Absolutely not. Do I think that some big cataclysm is going to happen and throw us all in the ocean? No, that's not going to happen at all. What is happening, and it's happening slowly, is we're beginning to go through this transition, and it's scary because part of what we need to learn too as divine spiritual beings is we need to be responsible, we need to be in control, we need to take responsibility for our reality, and not just our reality, but the whole world. Mm-hmm. If I'm living my life and I'm just, doing all these things and being a negative person and I don't really care about anybody else, well, that's what I'm putting out in the world. Well, you get everyone in the world doing things like that, and we have the world that we have. We created the world we have. What do we want different about it? When we focus our intention as a human family on change, we create change.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is very juicy. How about soulmate part? What do you think about soulmates?
I think everyone should think twice about whether or not they want a soulmate. until you've done your energy work and release work, and until you've taken care of your karma. Because your soulmate is someone whose soul mirrors yours. So all your soul wounds, all your karma, all your emotional issues, anything you came to heal, the role of your soulmate is to bring all those things to light in a way that you can't resist, because you can't resist a soulmate. So you attract this person thinking, oh, you're going to love me and this is going to be wonderful. And you realize that this person, you're really vulnerable with them, and then they break your heart or something terrible happens. And maybe not. Maybe you have a really great relationship. But the soulmate relationships I know of and that I've personally experienced have been really difficult. In my book, I write about a couple who were both married to other people, and they were part of a church group, and we were part of this big group, and it was immediately apparent to everyone that these people had an attraction. They couldn't keep their hands off of each other, so they had an affair, and they couldn't help it. And even though they were in church, they were married to other people, they had families, they had children. This was too hard for them, so they came together with this soulmate relationship. They had this affair, destroyed their families, destroyed their lives, everything, and then they had to make a choice. Did they stay together as a couple, or did they go back to their spouses and try and fix their lives? And somebody said to me, why did they do that? Didn't they know the chance they were taking? Well, they were soulmates. They didn't care. The attraction was much stronger than the fear of whatever was going to happen as a result of that attraction. But that's why soulmates are so compelling, because there's a lot of healing that happens in these relationships. There's a lot of healing that needs to happen in these relationships. So the soulmate comes to you in a way that you can't, they attract you on every level, and you can't resist them because they have a lot of learning for you. And then what happens with a soulmate relationship is really kind of up to you, because sometimes you stay together and you move on together. At other times, the other person isn't ready for that level of healing, so you split apart and then you move away in different directions.
And all is well.
All is well, even though it might hurt like heck.
If you have one last thing you want to leave us with, what would that be?
For everyone to remember two things. One is that we are the family of humanity, and we do have a say, an obligation. We also have the power to make the world what we want it to be. We have to stay very focused on that, though. And the way where you start is your life. What's the level of joy and love and peace that you want in your life? And when you create that for you, you create that for the rest of the world. But it starts with us. And the other is to remember that each of us is powerful. The thing that I feel is most disempowering and most difficult for people is for them to get a point in their life and they think, I don't have any power. I'm powerless. This is hopeless. We all have the same, because we're all one, the first universal law. We all have the same source of power. We all have the same amount of power. We don't use our power, but that doesn't have anything to do with how much power we actually have. So remember yourself as powerful and successful. And if you want to change anything in your life, it's where you put your intention that the energy goes to, and that's what gets created.
And that power, we all have it, really. It's not like our own and our power. It's the power. Right. It is something that we all can tap into at any time.
Right. It's like the sunshine. If I go stand out in the sun is going to shine on my head. I don't have my own little private sunbeam. And somebody else doesn't have a bigger sunbeam than I do. It's like that. It's just like I said earlier, like the air. We all need air to breathe. The air is available to everyone as much as you want. If I run really fast and I need to breathe more air, I don't get less air to breathe, or I'm not taking any air from anybody else.
Well, thank you, Jennifer. This was amazingly juicy. I loved it. I really, what a delightful, awesome conversation. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And it was fun. And thank you all for having me and for being part of my life.
Well, much juiciness, my beautiful co-creators from Texas. Ciao.